I'm building a workbench, and that requires a very sturdy base. So that's what we're building in this video. In my previous videos, I put together the top and manufactured devices for the bench. Since then, I've had the bench propped up on some cheap sawhorses. And it's really about time to put together something more sturdy than that. The way I'm putting this together is using a tension rod system that provides some exceptional rigidity for the bench. So why don't we hop back in time a couple of months to when I started milling up the legs and stuff for this bench. That took forever. Now I'm cutting some corners from the production here by cutting these corners off camera. Anyways, time for these to fit these. Spoilers, but I did one off camera already. Nice breakout. No, these don't need to be good looking. You just need to, wow, that broke out a lot. These just need to fit the holes. This was a lot harder than the previous one I did. let's see, where are we at? Yeah. A lot to go still. Yeah, I can get that going. So these are fitting all right. When I glue this up, I'm also going to dowel these. I'm not going to draw bore them because that feels excessive for this case. These are very sturdy even without glue. I'm going to cut up some pieces out of, and they're basically going to be small feet. They go in here, add some extra thickness here. One quick trip to the barn later, and I've got these cut to length, and I took the end up there, and I'm just going to glue on like so. Alright, so these are now unclamped. I did clean up some glue squeeze out already, and in the bottom of each mortise I have marked which leg goes where. So we need to figure out this support. These are way too long, but yeah, this is going to be cut to length and dovetailed into these sides. Put this align on that side. Flush to the bottom. I'm just going to put a mark there. So we want to do it from this side, I think. See, I missed the line. Still working on getting my angles right. Just to verify this fits in here. Yeah, it's nice and tight. We need to figure out where to put it and which side is forward and backward. This is where we take out the tail. Just marking it so I don't start working on the wrong side. That would be annoying. And we're marking these. The other side too. No, that's not the way. This is the one I want. Almost made a mistake there. So I went deeper. I don't think you can see it very well, but over here is the depth of the mortise I'm making for the tail. But this, I have a line over here too. That's the thickness of this. So anything I cut down here is going to be hidden by this part, so it's not going to be visible. Now, just going to push the rod through in the middle just to make sure there isn't an excess of glue in there. Yep. No issues. Whoop. It caught on something. Okay. Good to find out. Something has caused this last one to be misaligned. So how far in does it go? A little bit. I think I know what it is. Yeah. It's getting blocked right where the dominoes are. But why is only this one doing that, not the others? That's weird. Let's see if we can't clear this. There we go. Solved it. Test fit it now. Next step is drilling for those tension rods. And start to get this ready for the top. So I'm taking the threaded rod and just putting it in here, giving it a bonk to get a mark. That should work. It made an indentation there. So I got this turned around now. So now I'm at a stage where I am ready to mark at what point I'm actually going to cut this one. And I'm going to have to do a notch out of these to accommodate for the tool tray. You might be able to tell there's a bit of a gap here, and there's something that happened to the glue up of these last ones, that it's tilting off a little bit. So I'm just going to make a scribe mark here, and so this might be the last time I'm in the barn for the workbench build. Who knows? I think so. I'm just gonna mark where I'm gonna cut these. Gonna leave a small tenon on the front ones. The back ones I'm gonna cut with the notch for the panel. So let's get started on that. Transferring the scribe line. So 3 millimeters down. So this is the cut I wanna make. And goes cut. These are now glued up. I ended up actually going once more to the barn and went over them with the sander. So I cleaned out the glue squeeze out, especially around the dowels that I did to the legs, to make it a bit prettier. So what do you think? Is it gonna fit in the first try? That was backwards. Which dimension is it off? It's a bit too narrow. Ooh. And there's one I prepared earlier. Oh yeah, and I did put some cork on the bottoms to prevent it from sliding around too much or scratching the floor. it's all assembled and it looks great, I think. This ash is, I guess, some places would sell this as olive ash, but this is just common European ash. And it has some really nice color to it now that I put the oil on. It stands out a lot more than I thought it would, actually. But I'm really overjoyed with how this looks. I haven't even done the final tightening of these tension rods yet, and it's already rock solid. And putting the bench top on top of it is going to make it even more steady. So why don't we just try to do that now? And it's on. I didn't actually think I would be able to do this on my own, so I wasn't filming it. I was going to get a helping hand, but I gave it a try and it was easier than I thought. Just had to use that chair over there a bit to prop it up on one end, and then I could lift it over. The legs sit nice and flush with the front. Here too, with the tail vise, and also flush with the jaw of the tail vise. However, this scribing thing here I completely forgot to do, so it sits a bit tall here, so it's not really where it needs to be. I've added some basic lines that I'm gonna try to saw to see if I can get it to sit better. Now, of course, the floor isn't flat where I want the bench to be. I put some cardboard under the feet, and we're done. In addition to the cardboard, I also did scooch the bench over a little bit, so to make this fit in this space. And as you might be able to tell, this room is not very big. There is not a lot of room for activities here, so I am really happy with how these legs turn out. Compared to the sawhorses, this is like rock solid as a mountain. So now that it's actually stable, I can finally plane the top. But I think the next video is probably going to be a tour, and with some minor tangents on fixing the last few problems with the bench and putting some oil on the top. Really looking forward to see how the top's going to look with some finish on it, and how the oak and the elm accents are going to look. It's going to be very interesting, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Also, if you haven't seen my previous videos, I have 2 more videos before this, so if you haven't seen those, please do go and watch those. I have those linked in the description below, so. And leave a comment. I want to hear what you think. So, anyways, I'll see you in the next one.